And before we get further, I know that people are going to come in with these thoughts of, wasn't this disproved? So it might be helpful to show why that isn't the case before we go on to kind of assuage people's...
Right, let's do that. Okay, so slide 3 here shows some pictures. This is probably what you saw on Front Page News in 1988.
Look
pictures
at that.
Of Dr.
That must
Michael
frustrate
Tait.
you so much looking at that.
Can you see the 1260-1390 exclamation part? That's the exclamation part that really, it just screams academic excellence and propriety, doesn't it?
Yes.
These same guys with this very composed stance with their arms folded before these powered pillars. It just says these same guys got what's the number? I'm going to forget how many million in sterling they got for their new museum. The next day, it's a matter of the public record. The moment this was published, they were able to build their new laboratory. Some stuff was very fishy from the start, but it's just the case that across the world, front page news everywhere was the Turin Shroud it's been proven to be a medieval fake. It tells us nothing, therefore, about Jesus' sufferings. It can't be considered a relic, etc., etc. And so if you still believed that the shroud was real after this point, you might as well believe that the earth is flat. You're about the same category. And my heart just goes out for those people who are serious students, of the ones who had dedicated hundreds of thousands of hours, especially the team from STIRP in 1978. These guys had published already over 20 peer-reviewed scientific journal articles. They knew from the start to be suspicious of this.
Really?
But what I like, and this I would lead with this now, is that as of 2017, we have a published article that shows that the conclusions from 1988 are no longer sustainable. So I should say that again, the very publication, Archaeometry, out of Oxford, that
published this
1260 to 13, it said that conclusion can no longer be sustained. And I'm
sure that hit the front pages all around the world too, right?
Right. No, exactly. So although it is a matter of mainstream science, so if you want to find in the literature, you're going to bump into this. The French researcher who published this article is Tristan Casabianca, another friend of ours who teaches at our university. And he goes into all the details. It's a fascinating story. But I want to say it was in 2017 that according to the Freedom of Information Act, these laboratories were compelled by law to release the raw data that shows how heterogeneous were their individual results. Because there was Oxford, Zurich, Oxford, and Arizona. Those were the 3 laboratories. And the idea was that they were going to publish independently and that their particular results, but that didn't happen. They lumped them together and gave us this big arc, 1260 to 1390, 95% sure that this is the time period from which the shroud hails, and so it's fake. But the bottom line is that they use a sample from the top left corner of the shroud, which we know to be anomalous. It's just not representative of the rest of the shroud. And we knew that, and we had proof of that 10 years prior. You would think somebody would have the sense.
Do you think they knew that?
Well, they ought to have known. That much we know. We knew, though, that in the moment that they're cutting the sample, 8 centimeters of the most prized relic in all of Christendom, and of course you know that with carbon dating, you carbonize, that is, you destroy, you put into a fire, basically, this cloth never to be seen again. And so you'd think you'd be very careful. Compare that to the STIRP team, this Shroud of Turin research project of 1978. For a whole year, they prepare just so all of their tests will be non-invasive, non-destructive. And yet here, we're about to destroy forever 8 centimeters, and they don't know where they're going to take the sample 2 hours prior to the experiment. And it's all on videotape. In Italy, there was a documentary that came out just telling this whole fiasco, and it's called La Notte della Sindone. It's the night of the shroud. And you know who does the narrating, if I'm not mistaken, is the same actress. I'm going to forget her name now, who plays the devil in The Passion of the Christ. Yeah. So it's got some fun imagery there. It's a little
on the nose.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little edgy, but the fact is I can understand why some people were upset. But here's the thing. Even if you think that those laboratories did good science, and I'm willing to be benevolent and say as much, even if they did perfect science, they did so on a sample that tells us literally nothing about the rest of the shroud. Like you could look at the chemical composition, like you can see a map, what's called a brightness map from the UV fluorescence. Like turn off the lights, shine UV, capture what fluoresces, and it tells you about the chemical composition of the cloth. It's all uniform. It's all like orange hues, maybe a little yellow, a little red, but it's not forest green. But that's exactly what color it is in that top left corner. Like a little kid in kindergarten can point to that and say, look, Mom, that part is different. And yet this is where these, world-renowned scientists are using to date the shroud. It's just
So why not take another piece of the shroud and carbon date that? Wouldn't that be enough to prove what you want to prove?
Yes, except that you can imagine that after this very embarrassing episode, many people are hesitant to go that way. I think the church would remember, it's the church that's paying for this. Cardinal Ratzinger at the time was saying, yeah, these are protocols. Absolutely. Let's do 7 samples, 7 laboratories.
About how much does that cost?
Yeah, I have no idea. That I didn't see. But and sadly, that got reduced to first 3 samples and then 1. And then they published together against their own protocols.
Hey, thanks for watching. Before you go, I want you to go and download the best Catholic app in the universe, Hallow, HALLOW.com/Matt. Why am I saying /Matt? Because if you go to the website and download it there, click the link in the description below, you can try the app, the full app out for 3 months. If you don't like it, cancel. You won't be charged a dime. It's a very reasonable monthly rate, but as I say, you won't get charged for the first 3 months. Please go check them out. They've got excellent things over there like sleep stories and litanies and novenas and audio books. It's all very professionally done, and I'd highly recommend it. Hallow.com/Matt. That's, and I'm just double checking, Hallow.com/Matt.
Link in the description.